Now, there's something strange happening, especially in Nairobi. Something very strange. Now, there's something which I've been observing about the foreigners, specifically the Rwandese, Burundians, Ugandans, Congolese. There are so many in Nairobi. Recently, my friend wanted to recruit someone to work for him in a kinyozi, and he strictly wanted a Burundian. So I asked him, why do you want a Burundian, not Kenyan? He said that those people are cheap, reliable, and very loyal. So he wanted someone who can stick to the business and work without supervision. And within one day, he got the Burundian. If you try to do your survey in Nairobi, especially in Eastlands, even in Kilimani, you realize that nowadays more than 90% of people working in kinyozi are either Burundians, Congolese, or Rwandese. I've even discovered that even in groceries, they are the majority working there, working for Kenyans. This specifically, this one, there's a friend there. That's a grocery, a very busy one. There are people napanga laini. So this person has employed 4 Burundians who usually come at 5. They work there for from 5 to 10 at night. He pays them 150 shillings each. They go daily. So from morning until 5, they do their own things. From 5, they come and they work for him. And he does not recruit Kenyans. I've also observed that in the streets, hawkers, hawa njugu, viatu, hata nguo, majority of them are Rwandese and Burundians. And recently you saw what happened in Nairobi CBD. There were so many hawkers, so many. And I was wondering, why is this number too high? It is because of those people, Rwandese and Burundians, who are doing business. Even Chinese nowadays are in the streets. So the jobs which Kenyans used to despise are the ones which are being embraced by these foreigners. Now, how do these foreigners find themselves in Kenya? You know, around 15, 20, 10 years ago, the police used to ask for IDs. Whenever they move in the streets, they ask whether you are a Kenyan. You show your ID. If you don't have, you are arrested. But tell me when you are asked to present your ID. Not even once. Nowadays they don't. So these foreigners are moving freely, doing businesses and being employed. Some have even gone ahead to acquire IDs. And there's a case which happened recently. Uh, Kenya, there are some Burundians who had come to Kenya. They were issued with a passport and ID. They used those documents to fly to America illegally. To America, and once they were there, they started working. So they were deported when Trump was sworn in as the president. They were deported to Kenya as Kenyans, yet they are Burundians. So things are happening. I hear that when every day these long distance trucks deliver those people to Kenya, especially from Burundi. And one of the Burundians told me that they pay Kenyan shillings, 10,000 shillings from Burundi to Kenya. So they pay those truck drivers. So you find every week a truck driver makes something like 40,000 from those Burundians. And it's a booming business. They come to Kenya, they have specific places where they settle before they start hustling. So this, just move around and try to look at those people, especially go to Mombasa Road, go to Jogo Road, those hawkers. Talk to them. You will find that majority are not Kenyans. The hawkers in the CBD, majority of them are not. Those guys who are selling in Jugu, nowadays they come even to the pubs, bar, wines and spirits. Selling Jugu, they sell everything. Majority are not Kenyans. So, in future, if this trend continues, you find that these people will take over the jobs that Kenyans refuse to do, even in the car wash, even in the kinyozi. And Kenyans will now be forced to look for ways to survive. Now, the problem is not them. The problem is Kenyans. And I've heard from employers and those guys who own businesses, they say that employing Kenyans is headache. You employ a relative, he steals from you. You employ other Kenyans, they steal from you. They don't, you tell them, especially in matatu industry, when you employ someone to work as a conductor, they will make 10,000 per day. Let's say 5,000 per day, but you only get 1,000 shillings. They have eaten the other amount. It's like you bought the vehicle for them, the matatu for them. So I see in future, these foreigners will even be conductors, matatu conductors. They'll work there. They'll replace Kenyans unless Kenyans change. And once they start businesses like butchery, businesses like wines and spirits, and others, Kenyans will embrace them the same way they did to Somalis. Nowadays, if you go to to buy something in Lodhule Avenue, if you go to buy something there, and there's a Somali here, there's a Kenyan here, you automatically go to the Somali. Why? Because they are genuine. Their products, they can tell you this is genuine, this is fake. The pricing is good. And they have very good customer service. If you go to hotels, one is owned by a Kenyan, another one is a Somali. I'm sure you'll go to that owned by a Somali if you want to eat something like meat. Because they sell, if they're selling beef, it's beef. If it's goat meat, it's goat meat. Yes, we trust them. So Kenyans have lost trust in their fellow Kenyans because of the small habits, bad habits that we have developed. This is why foreigners are coming in large numbers to Kenya. You have even seen Black Americans. They are coming in large numbers. And in the next 10 years, they'll flood the country. And since most of them have money, they'll start businesses. And at the end of the day, it is the Kenyans who are born in Kenya who will suffer. Those black Americans will start a business. They employ Ugandans, Burundians, Congolese. Yeah, those foreigners. And now other Kenyans will just be there watching. Even me, if I start now, right now, if I start a kinyozi, I'm not employ a Kenyan when there's a Burundian there who I can pay 300 per day, and it brings me 500 shillings constant, and I'm sure he'll work for me more than 3 years. You know, a Kenyan will work for you around 2-3 weeks. He gets tired. One day he tells you, I'm leaving. You employ a Kenyan in an M-Pesa shop. We organize with thieves. They come and steal the float, everything. And you go back to zero. You give someone Uber, online taxi business, give them a car to operate and give you money. They organize with a thief. It is stolen, and they go to share the money out there. That's what happens. You cannot trust. Of course, there are Kenyans who are genuine, but majority are not genuine. You find several Kenyans are outside here saying there are no jobs in Kenya. But there are jobs. There are jobs. The problem is you cannot trust. A Kenyan will come. He looks very innocent. The first 1-2 days, 1 week, 2 weeks is very good. It's a good person. From there, he starts, anaanza kuharibu kazi, anaanza kuiba. At the end of the day, you find that your business has collapsed. So that is what is happening in Kenya. And in future, nobody will be trusted except the foreigners. And I think you have seen this trend. It is happening. So what is your opinion?